Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into unpacking a highly emotive, incredibly fast paced prophetic text. It's a message that promises both a coming spiritual storm and a profound safe harbor. Now, if you've been feeling this weird, unexplained weight or just a general sense of anticipation lately, well, the source material we're looking at today speaks directly to that exact experience. We're going to look strictly at what this text claims is happening behind the scenes, mapping out its predictions and its ultimate message of hope, using the specific imagery the author provides.
The source material immediately grabs your attention with a massive pattern interrupt. This is not a coincidence. Right from the opening seconds, the text establishes this narrative that the message itself is a divinely timed intervention. It's literally designed to stop you mid-scroll. It explicitly claims that if you are hearing this, you've been intentionally guided here, because a massive shift is about to hit your life. It's a bold framing technique, right? It instantly raises the stakes for everything that follows. So, let's get right into section 1, the impending shift. The text describes a fundamental change that is taking place right now. It claims that a monumental shift is already stirring in the unseen spiritual realm. According to the author, the ground is literally going to feel different under your feet, and the air itself will carry this heavy sense of change. What's absolutely fascinating here is how the text validates those very real, everyday feelings of deep exhaustion, quiet tears, and heavy questioning. It tells us, you know, those brutally difficult seasons you've been pushing through, they aren't random. They are the prelude to this massive impending shift. Now, what's really interesting is how the source frames this upcoming shift. It calls it a shaking, but firmly establishes that it's not an event of pure destruction. Instead, it's framed as this highly deliberate, dual-sided event meant to both challenge and bless you. The text uses two powerful contrasting visuals. On one hand, it might arrive like a sudden, chaotic storm, but on the other, it might break like a brilliant sunrise. But the core purpose, regardless of how it looks, is preparation. The source insists the divine force behind this loves you way too much to let you be caught unready by whatever is on the horizon. Moving right along to section 2, the breaking of systems. The author predicts a widespread, almost universal destabilization. The text states that this great shaking is going to pass through 4 key domains: the literal earth, the nations of the globe, human systems, and finally our individual hearts. The source is warning us that the days ahead, they will not resemble anything we've known in the past. It's a complete disruption of the status quo. The fundamental takeaway here is that worldly systems and human institutions will ultimately disappoint anyone who places all their trust in them. And this brilliantly illustrates the core warning of the text, really emphasizing the absolute vulnerability of human-made structures. Things people thought could never be broken will tremble. Just imagine that for a second. It creates this incredibly vivid mental image of massive, monolithic structures, economies, governments, societal norms, suddenly vibrating and cracking under some unseen pressure. The text is urging us to detach our sense of security from the physical world around us because, well, that world is about to become highly unstable. Okay, let's dive into this stark contrast the text draws. To navigate this trembling world, the source instructs you to become hyper-aware of exactly where your peace is coming from. On one side, we have worldly institutions, which the text associates with the enemy. This side churns out endless noise, panic, chaos, and distractions designed specifically to weigh down your heart. On the flip side is the divine presence. The source claims you'll be able to recognize the ultimate truth not by how loud it is, but by the supernatural peace it brings to your spirit, even when it's delivering a serious warning. Which brings us to section 3, anchoring in the storm. So the absolutely crucial point here is that preparation must happen before the shaking actually arrives at your doorstep. The text outlines 4 concrete steps to keep your heart steady. First, turn to God right now. Don't wait for the crisis to hit. Second, actively ignore the endless noise and worldly distractions meant to pull your attention away. Third, maintain a tight, continuous connection through prayer. And fourth, stay deeply rooted in the Word or Scripture. By dropping these anchors early, the source argues, your heart is going to be completely steady when everyone else is panicking. To really drive that fourth point home, the script uses this powerful visual metaphor. Stay in the Word as you would stay near a glowing fire on a freezing night. It's an incredibly evocative instruction, isn't it? It transforms the act of reading scripture from just a routine religious habit into a desperate, necessary act of survival. It paints the coming worldly chaos as a bitter, freezing night, and divine connection as the literal sole source of vital, life-saving warmth and comfort. The text then offers a profound reassurance regarding your own spiritual state. It introduces the concept of the seed of faith. It tells you that your current faith is not stagnant or weak, even if it totally feels that way right now. Actually, it's a dormant seed. All those quiet tears and heavy questions we talked about earlier, they were just water for this seed. The source promises that this belief, nurtured during private, lonely trials, is specifically primed to grow rapidly and powerfully the exact moment the public storm breaks. Now for the good stuff. Section 4, Unlocking Hidden Blessings. To comfort you in this next phase, the source completely reframes your past suffering. It explicitly states that every single delay, every trial, and every painful moment of waiting was not wasted time. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't a punishment, and it wasn't an accident. It was quiet, highly intentional, divine preparation happening right inside of you. The text even claims that every tear you've cried has been stored like a precious treasure. This profoundly shifts the perspective from feeling like a victim of circumstance to being a carefully crafted instrument of a much larger divine plan. This line reinforces that idea beautifully. What I have taught you in private will sustain you in public. The author is telling you that you were literally born for such a time as this. You were placed in this specific generation for a precise reason, to be an unshakable witness when the world starts trembling. All those unseen private struggles, they were essentially a training ground, so that when the systems break in public, you will be the one standing strong, able to guide everyone else. The text then rapid fires a list of tangible, hidden blessings that are wrapped up inside this coming shaking. It promises that things you've prayed for over many years are going to suddenly manifest right in the middle of the chaos. Specifically, it lists doors that have been stubbornly locked tight will suddenly swing wide open. Relationships that seemed completely, hopelessly shattered will be fully restored. And that personal strength you thought was gone forever, it's returning in full force. The storm is presented as the actual catalyst for miraculous delivery. And to explain why this delay happened in the first place, we are assured that divine intervention is currently actively at work behind the scenes. The text states that people, situations, and massive obstacles are being systematically moved out of your path right now. The waiting period was necessary simply to clear the space for what is better. The answers, the source promises, are already on the way. And finally, Section 5, Standing in a New Place. The text provides these final specific instructions to physically and spiritually align yourself with the promised positive outcome of the shaking. This is your posture for the future. First, physically lift your head. Do not look down in fear or defeat. Second, keep your hands open. This is absolutely crucial because you must be willing to release the old things you're clinging to. And third, keep those hands open so you are actively ready to receive the incoming flood of blessings.
It's a posture of total surrender and hopeful expectation. This beautifully summarizes the ultimate transformation promised by the source text. The guarantee is that while the coming event will shake the earth, a divine hand is going to hold you entirely steady. And the result? Well, when the dust finally settles, you won't just have survived, you will be standing in an entirely new place. The text promises that you will emerge from the shaking fundamentally upgraded, stronger, brighter, and closer to the divine than you have ever been before. The source text closes by asking its audience to affirm their trust by declaring, "Jesus, you are my song in the storm." As we wrap up this explainer, we want to leave you to reflect on the core challenge this text presents. It really asks us to look at our own foundations. When the systems around us, the things we thought could literally never be broken, begin to tremble, where do you find your peace? In the midst of any coming shaking, whether it's personal or global, what will be your anchor? What will be your song in the storm?